Hello friends, how's it going? It's me, Betty Jean. In today's video, I'm going to be continuing on the series where I chat about some older palettes and if I would purchase them if they were releasing right now. I did get this video idea from Lmao Beauty. I will, of course, as usual, have her channel linked in my description box. I think this is my fourth installment of this series. I've really been enjoying it. You've seemed to have been enjoying it as well. So again, please let me know if you want me to continue the series. I have a lot of palettes and it's been fun kind of reminiscing on some of these and just kind of really putting into perspective how I would feel about them if they were releasing right now. The way I personally go about this series, in case you haven't seen the other ones from me before, is I pretend that these palettes never existed. It's not that I lost it, would I buy it again, because to be honest, there's not a lot of things that I would buy for a second time just because I try to be really careful with my money and my spending, especially with makeup. So if that were to happen, I probably just wouldn't purchase a lot of things again, but I'm pretending that these have never existed. They are coming out right now. If any of these are already discontinued or limited edition or whatever, I'm pretending that doesn't matter. I'm pretending they are coming out right this second. I do not own them. And would I buy them right now? I have a mixture of things that I've already purchased. I have some PR, I have some gifts, actually quite a few gifts in here, and I'm excited to go over them with you. Before we get into it though, I did of course film this look. It should already be up on my Instagram and TikTok by the time this video goes up. And this choker was from Shop Sun & Co. This hat was a gift years ago. I think that's really all I have to say. Let's just hop in and chat about these 10 palettes and if I were to purchase them, if they were to release right now. All right, let me grab my pile. I'm going in no particular order. I just kind of have them stacked smallest to biggest so that they would fit on a stack nicely. First palette to talk about, this is gonna be my Colourpop Star Wars The Child palette. Looks like this. We have a mixture of like greens, grungy earthy tones. I really like the color story in this. This has been my favorite one of the Star Wars palettes. I'm not personally really a Star Wars fan. It's just never a franchise I really got into, but I do love this color story. I think it's really cute. This one was sent as PR, but we're gonna pretend that I don't get PR from Colourpop and this is launching right now. Would I buy this one? I'm torn because I do love this color story and I definitely would feel a major pull towards it, but I have no attachment to the theme, but that doesn't really mean anything, right? And Colourpop is affordable. I'm gonna say maybe yes. I think I probably would, especially because Colourpop does come out with so many palettes. Even lately, I haven't even been drawn to use the ones I've been sent in PR, so I've been giving some to friends. This one does stand out. I still think it's a very unique color story. I think it's fun, it's cute and grungy. I think I probably would buy this one if it were to launch right now. I would ponder for a bit though. I don't think it would be an instant purchase just because again, I don't really have an attachment to the theme, but what's on the inside, that's what counts. Moving on, number 2, this is going to be my Lethal Cosmetics Velvet Dusk palette. This is absolutely gorgeous. This was actually a gift and I'm so happy that I have this in my possession because it was on my wish list for such a long time. I don't even know why I didn't buy this initially when it first launched. It must have just been either other things were releasing that I was interested in or I couldn't justify the money, something of that nature. But I love this. I really like Lethal's formula. I think they come out with really pretty color stories, really pretty shades. I think if this were to release right now, I would be all about it. It's those grungy tones, kind of fall vibes, and I am missing fall so bad. I think I would be all over this if this were to launch right now. I don't know how this video is gonna go. So far, we're 2 for 2. Moving on to number 3, this is my Melt Cosmetics 420 palette. I love this. I actually got this as a gift last year, and I'm so grateful because I love this, and I wanted it so bad, but this launched right when shutdown happened in March or April of 2020, something like that. So I was not working and I was certainly not spending $50 on a palette or even $60. I think these are $58. I love this. I love Melt Cosmetics. I adore this palette. I know it got hit or miss reviews. I personally love it. I have yet to meet a Melt palette that I don't like. I personally don't see the inconsistencies that other people see. I think they perform great and I love this palette. And I'm telling you, if this had never launched but it was coming out right now, I would be all over it. I would be the first in line to check out. I love this color story. I was so sad when I couldn't buy it when it first launched, and then life just got in the way. I just never got around to buying it. I think I was just waiting for the right timing and a sale to happen, but then I got it as a gift and I'm so grateful forever. And I love this and I would absolutely buy it if it were launching right now. Moving on to number 4, this is my Pinky Rose Obsessed palette. It looks like this. It is very bright, very colorful. We kind of have a mixture of brights and neutrals. So my thought process is very, very similar to, I think, in my second video in the series when I chatted about the exotic peacock. Love the color stories of that trilogy. I think it's so much fun. I remember being so excited to buy it years ago. I think it launched in like 2018, if I'm not mistaken. It was a while ago. These are some of the oldest palettes in my collection. I loved them and I got so excited about them. But since then, Pinky Rose has released absolutely nothing that interests me. I don't keep up with them at all. They are just not on my radar. So I don't even know if I would know that this was launching right now. Maybe I would just see somebody share a picture of it, like one of the makeup news Instagrams or something. Maybe someone would share a picture of it and I would think that's cute. But honestly, this color story doesn't even pull to me anymore as much as the exotic peacock one did. I do still think it's cute, and especially this time of year, very summer vibes, and it could even lean into fall vibes as well because it's the brights, but it's also the warms. So it could be a really pretty summer into fall palette, but they're just not on my radar. And I said it last time, brands that aren't on my radar, I'm not necessarily chomping at the bit to buy everything from. So I think if this one came across my feed, I would think it was cute, but I would probably pass on it. But I do really enjoy it. I still stand by that was such a good release, those 3 palettes together. I don't know how they have managed not to do anything as interesting since then, in my opinion, but that was a really good release. Moving on to number 5, we are halfway through it. This is the Impressionism palette from Kaleidos, formerly known as Mousse Beauty. It looks like this. This was their first palette they ever launched, and I'm so grateful that they sent it to me and I got a chance to try this brand out because I've fallen in love with them. They have beautiful color stories, beautiful formulas. Their themes are always amazing, very art focused, and this palette is beautiful. So in this sense, I'm pretending that I have never received PR from them. I've just happened to try the palettes that I've tried, and they have launched the palettes that they've launched. This one just wasn't their first one. That's kind of how I'm playing it in my brain. I think I probably would. Knowing how much I do like their formula and how well their other palettes have gone for me, this is one of my favorite color stories from them. I think it's beautiful. Oh, I don't know though, because I do try to be very picky with my makeup purchases. Maybe this would end up being one that I admired from afar. Again, as much as I love it, I love this palette. It's one of my favorite color stories from them. Well, I think the Van Gogh is my number 1 favorite. I do really enjoy this one regardless, that doesn't matter. But I don't know. It's so hard to put yourself in this fantasy parallel universe, you know, sometimes. I feel like what my gut is telling me is that I would think it's absolutely beautiful. I already know I love their formula, but I think I would end up admiring this one from afar. I think that's what would end up happening. But again, I do love this palette. I'm just trying to really think rationally on how I would actually feel about it. Moving on to number 6, this one gets me in my heart. This is the Midas Cosmetics and Smoky Glow palette. I love this. I'm still so incredibly happy for Hannah that she got to do this. Midas Cosmetics is actually closing down. I don't know if they still have anything on their site anymore, but if they do and if this is still available, I still highly recommend it. I'm so glad I treated myself to this. I would still 100% be buying this if it were launching right now because I absolutely adore Hannah. I love her channel so much. I think she's just such a joy in this community, and I love what she came out with this palette. I think it is so much fun. The shimmers are beautiful and the mattes blend so lovely. So yes, I would absolutely buy this, no questions asked. I hadn't even tried Midas before this palette came out, and I just knew I wanted to support Hannah, so I would for sure be buying this if it launched right now. Ooh, here comes a fun one. This is a throwback of all throwbacks. I think this also came out around like 2018, so this is also a really old palette in my collection. This is the Ace Beauté Flare palette, and if you know, you know. The OGs know. This was my favorite palette for quite a long time. It only recently started to kind of go down the tier list a little bit, but I loved this palette. I just thought it was the perfect combination of bright and grungy. It is colorful, but it can also get really deep and just smoky. I loved this. I always took this every time I went anywhere, even if it was just for a night. I loved this palette, and I love Ace Beauté's formula. They have made their formula even better since this palette release, but I even loved their formula back then. And if they launch this right now, I would absolutely buy it because I still think this is such a beautiful color story. It's bright and grungy, and I just love the tones in here. It is so beautiful. This color story still makes me very happy. Even though it's not my #1 anymore, it's still a very solid palette and I love it so much. Oh, we're getting some winners today. We are 5-2. We got 4 more to go. I don't know how to count. We have 3 more to go. Next up, #7 is going to be my Lunar Beauty Eternal Eclipse palette. I love this. I love this palette so much. I actually did skip on this when it first launched because I think it was holiday season of maybe 2020. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. I don't remember all the releases. It just seems like it came out like late fall, early winter of 2020, but I don't remember. I ended up passing on it just because I was really trying to prioritize what I needed. We were still recovering from me being closed and also prepping to move in a few months. So this was just like not on the list to buy at the moment, but I remember loving it. These smoky tones, the blues, it is beautiful. And then I actually got it as a gift last spring and I'm again so grateful. This is beautiful. I've since like deeply fallen in love with their formula. I don't buy everything they release, but their eyeshadow palettes really do have an amazing formula. I have 4 of the palettes now. And I think assuming that I had the 3 that I have and this were to launch right now, I think I would be all about it. I love these colors, love the shimmers, I love the formulas, so I think this color story would make me really excited and I would be buying it. Unlike the new neutral palette that came out, that one wasn't really my vibe. I get that it looked like a very staple neutral palette and I could see a lot of people getting down with it. I just didn't need it, but if that one were to be launching right now, I'd be all over it. Moving on to #9, this is my Beauty Bay Wilderness palette. I love this. This was my first Beauty Bay like brand purchase. I fell in love with this color story when they launched it and I still love it. I ranked this super highly last year in my ranking. I'm pretty sure it was in my top 5 and I'm still in love with it. The shimmers are incredible and the mattes blend like a dream. This made me fall in love with the brand's formula and they are heavily on my radar now. And I would absolutely buy this if it were to launch right now because in this parallel universe, I own the Age of Opulence, but I don't own this yet. I would be all over this because I love this a million times more than the Age of Opulence as far as color story goes. So knowing that I already loved that and fell in love with the formula, this one would have just been peak, like next level for me. I love this and I would be all over it if it were launching right now. And it's funny, actually, I talked about the Age of Opulence last video and I said that assuming that it just launched and nothing else were launching, in this case talking about the Midnight palette, I would buy that one, but assuming that the Midnight palette would still have launched in between then and the Age of Opulence now releasing, I would have bought in the Midnight and not the Age of Opulence. And then I don't know how, but Beauty Bay saw my video and they slid in my DMs and said they're gonna send me the Midnight palette. So hopefully that arrives at some point and I will definitely play with it because I'm very excited about it. I'm excited about the brand. And finally, last but not least, is my Give Me Glow Pastel Dreams palette. This is so cute. I got this one as a gift last year, actually. I am so thankful for this gift because it's beautiful. I did end up talking myself out of it when it actually released just because I think it was just a mixture of like freshly moving and just needing to prioritize other things. I'm not entirely sure. I don't remember why I didn't buy it, but I remember being excited about it. I think I just didn't like need another pastel palette in my collection, but let me tell you, I'm so happy that I have this because the yellows are amazing. I love that there's an equal matte to shimmer ratio. It is so pretty. But the thing is, I feel like if it were to launch right now, I'd probably still have the same logic of like, I don't need another pastel palette. I have lots of pastels, but it's so tough because I know how much I love it and I'm so grateful that I have it now. Oh, but I'm really trying to think of my logic present Betty Jean brain right now. And I think I probably would end up talking myself out of this one. Oh, I don't know though, it pains me. This one's really tough because I love it. But I do think I would have ended up talking myself out of it again like I did the first time. Oh, I think that's what I'm gonna say. Yeah, I think I'm gonna say that. But I do love it. The 3 palettes that I didn't end up keeping in this parallel universe, I do love. I love them a lot. I just have to think logically sometimes. And I mean, in this parallel universe, I did buy 7. That's a lot of palettes. I'm assuming these all didn't release like literally right this second, the exact same day. I'm just assuming this time frame. I don't know how I'm picturing it. I'm pretending these don't affect each other, but yeah, that's where I am. I feel like I take this rationale too seriously. I get so invested in how I would feel. But yeah, that was my video continuing on with this series of chatting about older palettes and if I were to buy them if they were releasing right now. If you own any of these palettes yourself, I would love for you to answer the same question. And also just, are you interested in any of these? I would love to chat down below. If you made it to the end of this video, why don't you pick an emoji that you've never used before? And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel out a lot. And if you aren't already, you can follow me on my other socials. You can join the battybean fam. I am battybean on everything, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And if you want, you can subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. I'm posting most days over here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, bye.